Racism is a lot like getting a finger in the ass during oral sex. Most people are way too afraid to admit how much they really enjoy it. Here's something else you might enjoy. It's not a digit to the dirt star. It's a fresh episode of the Savage Sacktap, and it starts right now.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
How the fuck are we doing? Savage Sacktap, Mike Montone. Alright, it's a Tuesday night. Gotta knock this bad boy out and get to sleep. I'm gonna be up early as fuck tomorrow. What is going on with my work schedule anyway? Because I know you guys hear me bitching about it all the time. Here's the deal. I'm on, right now, I work Monday, then I'm off Tuesday, and then I work through Saturday. So it's just a fucking pain in the ass. Absolute fucking nightmare all over the place. Haven't had consecutive days off, other than fucking Memorial Day weekend. That's about it. So yeah, it's been a super huge kick to the fucking sack. But what are you gonna do? That is coming to an end soon. So my summer can finally start. It'll start like right before the 4th of July. So it's like being back in high school, right? Get out of school around June 20th, and then you roll right into summer vacay. So that's what's going on with me, and hopefully I can put out more content once my schedule kind of normalizes, because I wanna do like a podcast a week. Like I think I can probably get that in, but with the all over the place schedule, it's just tough to do. And I need my summer. I'm one of the boys of summer, as Don Henley would say. Which, by the way, I feel like the boys of summer is also a great name for a gay porn. My brother and I always talk about this. Like, you could it would just be guys doing real gay stuff in all sorts of summertime scenes. So, like, you know, you're at the ballpark and the coach is like, "All right, Johnson, you're gonna have to pound this guy hard and inside. He's been stroking him deep all afternoon. Pound him hard and inside, Johnson." Sports can be made to sound so fucking gay. Pound him hard, and this guy likes his balls hard and inside. He swings the lumber, he's got a big piece of wood, and he strokes him deep. You know, at the pool, 2 lifeguards. "Hey, Carl, could you put some lotion on my back?" "Oh my god, the towel boy's drowning." "Okay, get him. Rescue him." "No, I think the Speedo's constricting. It's constricting his blood flow. Yeah, you pull it off and check for a pulse while I give him mouth to mouth." I don't know. I don't know, maybe a fireworks display. "Oh my god, I love a flaming Roman candle. Watch out, don't bring it too close to my face, it might explode." I don't think they talk fruity in gay porn, though. I think they talk like regular dudes, because I think twinks annoy the shit out of everybody, so if you're jerking off to gay porn, you don't want to see a twink, because they're just so fucking annoying. It's like, get back to brunch and get out of my porn. I want to jerk off to a real man. But yeah, endless possibilities there. Anyway, before we get going, I want to check out this little video I saw. Anthony Cumia tweeted it. It looked wild as fuck. Or weird as fuck, I should say. One sec. I take a sip. I got a little julep going on. Welcome to Flavor Country. All right. And here we go.
All the gay people, transgender, lesbian, bisexual people gather up and celebrate.
That's absolutely right. It's a celebration of sexual diversity.
All right. First of all, I absolutely have to hand it to the gay community. And I think I said this in last week's show. for scheduling Gay Pride Month for the same month as Father's Day, because there are just so many fucking Korean War vet dads who didn't want their son doing any of that faggot shit, and they're like, you know what, old man, you know what we're gonna do? We are gonna have the parade on that Sunday. So when you see every Father's Day display, everyone, your sister calls, you say, Happy Father's Day, Dad. People say, hey, Happy Father's Day, Bob. And he's just got to think about his son fucking parading down the street in San Fran or the West Village in a pair of assless chaps, spending the night doing meth off of a 9-inch cock. What... They say the best revenge is living well. Back to the video.
I'm a gay ally. Are you gay?
Definitely.
Great
Nope,
answer.
not me.
I mean to come out of the closet.
When you come out of the closet, it means like when you're playing hide and seek and you're hiding in the closet and then someone finds you and then you have to come out of the closet and you have to be it.
Makes sense. Do you think it would be cool to have 2 moms?
Yes. If the house is full of girls and there's no boys in sight,
Yeah.
you don't have to flush the toilet for the boys.
So many advantages.
I just want to take a brief. So this girl thinks that, I guess, if you live in a home with no males, you don't have to flush the toilet. So this is, by the way, and we're going to talk a lot about sort of feminism and what's going on with the straight white males versus the world in this episode. But this is, if this sort of feminist utopia that the women's marchers want to create here actually does become a reality, it will apparently just be a world of women who take a shit and then don't flush the toilet because there are no boys around. You don't have to flush the toilet for the boys. Fantastic. This is tremendous.
What would it be like to have 2 dads?
It would be crazy. It depends on how their personality is. If they're a party animal, then it would be obviously crazy.
Any parent who's a party animal would be crazy.
Yeah.
So, what I don't think this kid gets is that, and she asked, I know the audio is a little skippy, she said, what would it be like to have 2 dads? And he said, if they're party animals, it would be crazy. But I don't think he understands that, he, at this stage in his life, party animal means that, like, there's a piñata and a bunch of balloons, and maybe they'll do some roller skating and eat pizza. That's a party to this kid. He's like 7. Party to 2 grown gay men, probably, as I alluded to before, involves a lot of meth, a lot of cock, and a lot of assless chaps. So I don't know if that's the kind of party that this kid wants to go to. Judging by the balloons in the room in this video, and I think I retweeted this, I'll make sure I share it, that he's thinking of a completely different kind of party. But anyway, moving on.
Can you name any gay celebrities?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Uh-huh. What about Neil Patrick Harris?
Who's that?
Do we know Ricky Martin?
No.
Ricky Martin is a singer, and now he's a gay icon. A gay icon is someone who's revered by the gay community.
Lady Gaga?
Yes. Anderson Cooper?
I might have heard of him.
Jodie Foster?
I've heard of him. I cross my fingers. I'm not lying.
Oh, Jodie Foster is a woman, and she made me question my sexuality when I was a child because I liked her so much.
Oh.
And she was nude in the film Nell. Not that I remember watching it several times as a child.
Wow.
This woman just told a group of kids that her pussy used to get moist while watching Jodie Foster get naked in movies. This is fucking fantastic. This is when fucking, like, Alex Jones and all those guys are talking about Soros and the child molester pizza places. This is the shit that they're talking about. It's this woman saying to these kids that as a child, it's totally natural if you want to eat Jodie Foster's pussy. This is, tremendous, tremendous stuff.
Guys, I'm so impressed with you. Remember, what are we to the gay community? We are
Gay icons.
Sure.
I'm an ally. Maybe I could be an icon.
I mean, everybody should aspire to grow up and be a gay icon.
And then they wrap it up with one of the kids saying that he wants to grow up to be a gay icon because at the age of 5, he's ready to announce to the world that he loves cock. I mean, this is fantastic stuff. Do yourself a favor, check it out. I think I retweeted it at Mike Montone. If not, one second. Let me make these headphones off. That was tremendous. Oh wow, I should have saved that for last. That was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It took a minute to get fired up there, but I'm glad we could start off with that. And like I said, it's up on my Twitter at Mike Montone, and I'll try to share that on Facebook too if I remember. But fucking disturbing stuff, man. How the fuck? I wonder what the fuck could she possibly have been thinking when her agent proposed that video. He's like, listen, what do we think this woman's... Listen, Emily, we got a call, and the studio wants, it's Pride Month, and we figured maybe you do a little video, you talk to these kids about eating Jodie Foster's pussy. Pays, not bad. Yeah, they'll do $10,000. Yeah, but all right, so you're in? This sounds like a project for you? Oh, perfect. All right, I will let them know. And yeah, and dress like a complete jackass. No, it's going to be very creepy. Terrifying. Okay, good. All right, then we'll see you Friday. Ah, yes, the joys of social media. And speaking of social media, you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/The Savage Crew. Sorry, I had a little bourbon lingering in the old... mouth. I don't know. I was going to try to say mouth in Spanish, but I forgot what it was. I think, is it boca? Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, Facebook.com/The Savage Crew, at Gary_Moiler on the Instagram, and at Mike Montone on Twitter. Okay. What is the plan for today? Plenty to talk about. Chris Hardwick, his scalp has been added to the Me Too belt, the hashtag Me Too belt. Einstein was a racist. Ed Werder is going to war with feminist Twitter, and I got this little article. Is it okay to hate men? So we'll take a little look-see at that, and it's all coming up after this dirty joke. What do you call a lesbian dinosaur? A lick-a-lot-of-puss. Like lick-a-lot-of-puss. Ah, I like that. I get it. Dirty jokes, baby. All right, Chris Hardwick. What am I doing here with this thing? Is this, yeah. Is this how I want to be? Okay. How about that? What's going on? Chris Hardwick is kind of on the world's shit list. Chris Hardwick is a comedian, for those who don't know. He hosted At Midnight and I guess a bunch of shit on AMC. More on that in a sec. He was dating for a while a cosplayer by the name of Chloe Dykstra, and I guess cosplayers are just people who dress up in costume, like they go to events like Comic-Con and they dress like whoever. And anyway, she wrote a blog post saying that he emotionally abused her. As soon as they started dating, he had all these ridiculous rules for her. And he would come home and he would say, like, he'd say, you have to be ready to have sex as soon as I come home. And he would just beg to fuck. And he told her, like, my last relationship fell apart due to a lack of sex. And then, they would fuck and she wasn't that into it. And he would laugh at her and call her a starfish. And then she claims that he blacklisted her in the industry. So she's alleging, it's all this emotional abuse, and she says the sex equates to sexual abuse, and it's all supposed to be part of this new it's supposed to be the latest in the hashtag Me Too movement. And of course he denied the whole thing, but it 2018 doesn't matter. He lost pretty much all of his work at Comic-Con. He got disinvited. He was doing something on NBC, and he had a couple programs over on AM. Did I say programs? I sound like my grandmother used to call TV show. I love that. Oh, that's my favorite program. I love the program with, what's the Angela Lansbury? I love her. Murder, She Wrote. Yeah, but he lost his shows, I guess, or he's gotten suspended, or they've put them on hold. But there's so many fucking ways just to look at this. Obviously, first of all, if it's all true, then it just sounds like Chris Hardwick is a fucking dick. I gotta find a better spot to put my beverage. 1 second. It's behind me. That ought to do it. If true, I think we can all agree that Chris Hardwick is a fucking dick. Probably he doesn't sound like the best boyfriend. My advice would just be, don't date this person. Why would you even? She says that he started with these demands as soon as they started dating. Why then would you date this person? Like, he said ridiculous things. Like, he would say, we can't talk during dinner. And she said he would just look at his phone throughout the meal, she wasn't allowed to have male friends. She wasn't allowed to go out drinking with guys, or she wasn't allowed to drink because he didn't drink. All sorts of just very absurd, controlling rules. And I know there are people who like that in a relationship. I know people who are like that. It's bizarre to me. I'm a very independent person. I don't like my freedom being fucked with. But why would you stay with a person like that? I mean, it's odd that you would even let things get past that. But the second we had that conversation, I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, there's no value in you if you're trying to restrict my freedom. So I'm curious as to what really went on here. And then there's begging for sex from your girlfriend, and there's sexual assault. And I mean, sexual assault is terrible. It's a crime. It's a complete violation of other human being. I think there's also a strangeness to me to the aspect of begging for sex. Like, I mean, if someone doesn't want to fuck you, do you really want to beg them to do it? I mean, that's kind of like, doesn't that kind of take the mood out of it? Like, I love to fuck, but if my girlfriend doesn't want to do it, I'm content to jerk off. I might not be thrilled about it. Like, if I'm really like, I want to go, I might not be too happy. Might be like, oh, come on, you'd be fucking kidding me. But I'm not gonna. I wouldn't demand sex from someone who didn't want it. That's a very strange thing to me. I don't get that. So I'm not sure what's going. That would be terrible sex. Why would you even want to? I can't imagine that even feeling good. And now look, if he did all of this and then targeted her career, as she says, like blacklisting her from the industry. Let me get the cock out of my mouth. I have been hitting the sauce a bit. Sorry. Oh, like I said, work has been a motherfucker, and I need me the remedy. And that be it. That bourbon is good shit, man. If he did all of this and targeted her career, then he's a bad guy, and I think he should be fired. And that's not in the vein of the, oh, well, he said something controversial or whatever. This, I just don't want to do business with this guy, right? If he's going out and trying to like blacklist people from that's a bad guy, and that's, I don't respect that. I wouldn't want to. Now, and again, this is who the fuck knows. Now, if that part's not true, if he never actually tried to blacklist her, because who knows with these things? You never know when it's all true or an element of it's true or what. If he didn't do that and he just has, weird relationship rules and begs for sex, then, he's maybe not my guy, but I don't see that as being like fireable. I wouldn't be like, hey man, that's just, you kind of need to work on your relationships a little bit. You're a controlling dick, but that's if you're whatever. I can still accept you as an entertainer. If women choose to date you, they like that kind of thing, then by all means find that kind of woman and go on with your life. And again, as for the begging for sex, I read what she wrote, and I don't remember it. I could go back and take a look, but I don't really remember it sounding like assault. It sounded more to me like this is a guy begging his girlfriend for sex. She's not in the mood, and she finally kind of caves in. It didn't seem like he was holding her down and assaulting her. Again, if I'm wrong, call me out. But I think it's very weird to to demand to fuck a person who isn't that into fucking you. I don't know why you would want to do that. That's kind of that's the way a teenage boy thinks, right? He's just going to beg his girlfriend for sex, and then she's going to do it, and everything is, because, that's just the way, and everything's going to be good. And he's like, yep, got my nut. Like, that's a grown man doing that is a little more, you should be, and Chris Hardwick's, I think, in his 40s, so he should really, I feel like, be on top of that, especially as a guy who fancies himself an ally to women. Remember, I've talked about this at length, and I did a Facebook Live about it when this first came out. We're seeing all these allegations against these guys who claim to be allies to women, and they're these sensitive fucking kind of Hollywood nerdish types, and it's like, wait a minute, I thought it was the alpha males, the brutes who were committing these assaults and these acts, and the sort of the trope of the varsity jacket date rapist or the frat house date rapist, the alpha male who he can have any girl he wants, but he couldn't have her, and he decided that he was gonna take her, like that kind of thing. And it's really not, right? It's the wolf in sheep's clothing, the camouflage. That's where these assaults really come from. But I don't think he should be eliminated have his platform, his show taken away because of allegations. Because he says that none of this happened, that they had kind of a rocky relationship. She cheated on him, and then he broke up with her. Maybe after that, he said to people, "Hey, you know what? You can work with me, or you can work with her. She cheated on me. I don't want anything to do with her." That's a viable other side of the story, right? It seems like we've gotten to a point as a society where if you're the one who's been accused, your argument or your defense of yourself carries less weight because you spoke up second. So we've almost created a rush to be the first to speak up. I think there's a case at some college recently where a guy actually the day after hooking up with a chick ran to the school and accused her of sexual assault because she had accused a friend of sexual assault. A friend of his of sexual assault, and he was like, look, I got to get on record before she gets on record. So he did that. So it's really become like it's like the fucking Princess Bride with the wine glass going back and forth. But it's everyone's been in a bad relationship before, and I think back to bad or toxic relationships that I've had, and the text conversations, and like the fuck you, no fuck you, you suck, I can't stand you, I hate you. You're saying every terrible, horrible thing to the person. You're being a fucking dick to each other. And is that now, if you're a person in the public eye who's been in a relationship like that, is that now going to be used against you to slander you and hurt your career? Especially, it seems like she's a somewhat public person too, but you could see how like a private person could come forward and accuse someone of doing all this shit, and it's like, what the fuck? What is every slight against another human being now going to be grounds for disappearing a person? And if that's the case, then understand this: they can come for absolutely anybody. All right, we'll do another dirty joke, and we will jump on to our next topic. One segundo here. What do you call a herd of cows masturbating? Beef stroking off. All right, welcome back to the Sacktap. We're straight, we're white, we're male, and we are sticking up for ourselves, god damn it. So how about Albert Einstein, the greatest genius in the history of the world, pretty much. Stumbling there a little bit. Greatest genius in the history of the world, Albert Einstein. I think you can make the argument. Apparently, great big racist. That's right. According to the New York Times, anyway. The failing New York Times. They could even Albert Einstein, best scientist ever, probably called him a racist. Very sad. So anyway, Einstein goes on a world tour in the 1920s, and he kept a journal and wrote down kind of his impressions of all the people he came across. And it's interesting. He went to Egypt, and he said they pulled up to the pier and there were swarms of people who smelled like absolute shit, which seems pretty accurate. Middle East, 1920s, right? Makes sense. Probably not too big on the hygiene. I mean, I was in the Middle East in 2009, and they weren't too big on hygiene yet. So I'm sure back in the 20s, it was an absolute shit show. India, Sri Lanka, he complained about the smell. I mean, again, reasonable, right? I mean, have you seen these fucking the slums they have over there? They got people shitting on the sidewalk. The trains, there's like 50 guys hanging on the outside of the train because the inside's so fucking crowded. I mean, this is why all of the smart dudes from India leave India, right? Have you ever noticed that the Indian guys in America are all like super successful? It's because they're all hardworking and smart, and that's why they get the fuck out of India. They're like, yes, very good. I would go to America and to suck American pussy and to make very big American dollar, and I will put my cell phone on a clip on my belt, and I will tuck my shirt into my khakis and wear dress shoes all the time to get the American pussy and suck on titties, because it would be good to suck on American titties. Very good. That's what Indian guys over here are like. They do that, and then they get on the PATH train smelling like shit. Not racist, just pattern recognition. He goes to China, right? And he says there's just millions of automatons. They all look alike, and he can't figure out why the women are so eager to reproduce. Accurate. He says I think he refers to them as industrious, hardworking automatons, something like that. I mean, what do we think of when we think of China? But we think of overpopulation. Remember, they were like killing the babies. If you had like two daughters or something like that, they killed the baby, and then or was it sons? Who the fuck knows? But they were like, weren't they killing babies in China? I hope I'm not making this up about the Chinese, but I heard they were killing babies. And they had those iPhone factories where you work like 16 hours a day and you get like no sleep, and then they have to have the fucking nets around them because people keep hurling themselves off. I mean, that sounds like a pretty accurate. It sounds like Einstein predicted China in the year 2018. I mean, look, here's the thing. This guy developed the theory of relativity. So, yeah, no shit, he's going to be tough to please. And I mean, I have to think that if Einstein visited, say, contemporary America, he would also have some shit to say in his diary, right? I don't know if I have the German accent in me. Yeah, open the door. Yeah, mein Albert Einstein, unsere theory of the relativity, yeah. Und I visited the Midwest in the United States, and the very overweight people, and they subsist on a diet of the cheesed processed meats and cheaply brewed domestic pilsners. I don't know, how was that? Is that I imagine that's what his diary would say if he ever visited Milwaukee. Yeah, I was in New York, in the New Yorkenhausen. And I found it to be a city filled with pretentious, opinionated faggots of the worst type, is what he would say about New York. I mean, it's Einstein. He's like the smartest guy ever. Wherever he goes, he's going to be judging people. He's not taking it easy on anyone. You don't get to be Einstein by kind of, taking the, going easy on yourself. He's gonna be a man of impeccably high standards. Yeah, so you go, if he steps off the ferry in Calcutta and he sees some guy taking a shit on the sidewalk, what do you think he's gonna say? Come on. Sounds like he was one of us too. He apparently wrote a misogynist manifesto. I guess his marriage started going to shit, so he wrote Einstein, His Life and Universe, and he basically told his wife, like, look, bitch, clean the house, cook me three meals one day, and shut up when I say so. He's just like, yeah, sorry, I'm busy discovering everything about science and changing the world. No time to cook, clean, or listen to you complain about your friends. Yeah, E equals MC, shut the fuck up and empty the dishwasher. Oh, man, I feel like Einstein was the fucking man. I would have hung out with that guy. All right, we got another dirty joke, and then another straight white male is is caught up in some shit. We'll give it to you about Ed Werder in a second. First, we're doing dirty jokes. All right, since this episode is all about being on team straight white male, how about we'll go with this one? What's the difference between a woman with PMS and a terrorist? You can negotiate with a terrorist. Not quite dirty, but nice and misogynistic. Mike's a misogynist. He's very misogynistic. What's next? Ed Werder. Okay. All right. Well, if you are not a football fan, and I mean like a real football fan, not that homo World Cup shit. I'll get into that another time. I fucking despise soccer. Anyway, Ed Werder is an NFL reporter, and this is what went down. I gotta pull up this tweet real quick. Okay, so I guess Sports Illustrated is says they're looking to hire an entry-level news writer. It's an hourly position, 40 hours a week. And Charlotte Wilder, who is a writer for Sports Illustrated, she retweets the job posting and says, "If you can stand sitting near me in the office, this is a very cool opportunity, especially if you're a woman trying to get into sports. You should message me. DMs are open." And Ed Werder retweets it and says, "So men need not apply? Any others ineligible?" And as you can imagine, everyone on the internet went fucking nuts. Just a chorus of complaining that a white male dare complain. And Werder says, and I agree with this, I thought Sports Illustrated hired the best regardless of race, gender, etc. And I agree with that. That should be, I believe in a very strict meritocracy. So I think those should always be our priorities when we're picking anyone for anything. And maybe it is possible, of course, that this woman just wants to hire, help out an aspiring female sports journalist. But I understand Werder's objection because the wording of the tweet makes it seem like someone who works for the company and is in a hiring position is trying to push an agenda. And if you can hear cars out there, there's a moving truck just drove by. Here's the fucking deal. It's June. It's hot as fuck out. I live in an urban area. It's the concrete jungle. So when it gets hot here, it's like 10 degrees hotter in my neighborhood, and it's just everything just fucking bakes. So the windows are open, trying to keep the airflow in here. Anyway, yeah, I mean, imagine the other way around. If Ed Werder tweeted that and said, if you're a young man and you'd like to get into the industry, shoot me a message. DMs are open. Like, this is a great opportunity, and I work at the company that's doing the hiring. I mean, people would be in an uproar, right? People would be going nuts about how it's the boys' club and this is male privilege and et cetera, et cetera. So I understand why he's like, hey, what the fuck? And especially, again, like I said, Ed Werder, he's an NFL guy. He does, and is there anything, I think the NFL is probably the biggest meritocracy in the country, right? So, of course, the guy who does the NFL, and he was laid off by ESPN, and people that one of the criticisms of them is that they try to push a progressive agenda. So you can kind of see, I think, when a guy like that looks at it, what he says is, if you are a qualified male, can you be assured that you won't lose out to a less qualified woman because someone at Sports Illustrated has an agenda and hiring a chick will help further that agenda? And I think when you see the tweet like that, it's legitimate. And I think, look, again, I don't know that this woman has an agenda. I think maybe she just wants to help young women get into the industry the way she got into the industry, and she thinks it's a nice thing to do. She thinks it's the right thing to do. Sure, I get that, especially if you're a chick working in sports, you want to kind of elevate the sisterhood. I get that, but it's just kind of, look, you're a writer. You should understand words, and the way that is worded could reasonably give someone the impression that you, as an employee at Sports Illustrated, sort of have this inside track to get somebody hired, and you're going to that only applies to young women. So maybe better wording. If maybe retweet it and say something like, if you're a young woman who is serious about getting into sports media, these are the types of positions you have to be applying for, or something like that, right? You could send it an empowering message, but without giving off the hint of impropriety, as some clearly saw it. Okay, we will do the next dirty joke and then get into our final topic. I said that like such a fucking homo. Topic. The final topic. What do you call a virgin lying on a waterbed? A cherry float. Very good. I do love a good dirty joke. That one was dirty. That one I liked. Okay. Is it okay to hate men? Well, based on some of the stories we've looked at thus far in this episode, I'd say the answer is absolutely. We are the straight white male, public enemy number one. Society will stop at nothing to see him brought to justice. Yeah, I don't know. People do not like the straight white males these days. In fact, so much is the national ire aimed in our direction that the Washington Post recently ran an op-ed by Susanna Danuta Walters, a professor of sociology and director of the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program at Northeastern University. And she is the editor of the gender studies journal Signs. And she wants to know, why can't we hate men? And it's got a picture of Harvey Weinstein up there, because who is a more detestable man than that piece of shit? And that's the thing. Here I, a straight white male, looking upon another straight white male and saying, piece of fucking shit. I mean, does anyone not join me in saying that they wish that Harvey Weinstein goes through, like, the worst prison sodomizing ever, that his mouth is just used as a pussy by a bunch of well-hung Bloods and Crips? Surely you echo my sentiments, don't you? But we'll do a read, shall we? I've been joined by my producer Chicken here. If you hear a dog running around in the background, a little pitter patter of paws on the hardwood in here, that is it's my roommate's Pooch Chicken. She is fucking adorable, so she gets to hang out with me while I do the casting. But anyway. On to less adorable things. Feminists! Anyway, she writes, it's not that Eric Schneiderman, the now former New York Attorney General, accused of abuse by multiple women, pushed me over the edge. My edge has been crossed for a long time. Before President Trump, before Harvey Weinstein, before mansplaining, and incels, before live streaming sexual assaults and red pill men's groups and rape camps as a tool of war and the deadening banality of male prerogative. She goes on. Seen in this indisputably true context, it seems logical to hate men. I can't lie, I've always had a soft spot for the radical feminist smackdown, for naming the problem in no uncertain terms. I've rankled at the "but we don't hate men" protestations of generations of would-be feminists, and found the men are not the problem, this system is something about obfuscation, whatever. Shut up. That's the first two paragraphs. We'll go through the whole thing. But I'm confused. First of all, I am not President Trump. I'm not Harvey Weinstein. I'm not really when I was in power as an officer in the Marine Corps, I certainly never used that power to demean or abuse women. So I'm not sure how the president and the producer have anything to do with it. Mansplaining. Yes, that's right. When a man explains something, he's wrong. Now we're not allowed to explain anything. And there's her kind of wrap-up paragraph is real good on that, and I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, incels, involuntary celibates. Well, I am not one of those, and I think those guys are a bunch of fucking weirdos too, who should probably just go get a hobby and learn how to socialize. So I'm, again, not sure what this has to do with being male. These seem like one is a made-up word, mansplaining, and then the rest are just, fucking dickheads. So that you're judging us based on our worst, I see. Rape camps as a tool of war. Certainly, I have known a great many males in my life, but none who have ever operated a rape camp. I've known a great many males who have gone to war and not operated a rape camp. Okay. But she refers to this as an indisputably true context. All right, then. Moving on. Pretty much everywhere in the world, this is true. Women experience sexual violence, and the threat of that violence permeates our choices, big and small. In addition, male violence is not restricted to intimate partner attacks or sexual assault, but plagues us in the form of terrorism and mass gun violence. Women are underrepresented in higher wage jobs, local and federal government, business, educational leadership, etc. Wage inequality continues to permeate every economy and almost every industry. Women continue to provide far higher rates of unpaid labor in the home, child care, elder care, care for disabled individuals, housework, and food provision. Women have less access to education, particularly at the higher levels. Women have lower rates of property ownership. Okay, let's pick this one fucking apart piece by piece. Women experience sexual violence. That's true. So do men. Actually, I believe in the United States, the majority of sexual assault victims are male. Someone feel free to check me on that. If I'm wrong, let me know. The threat of that violence permeates our choices, big and small. I will give it to you that there's definitely a threat that I don't think I'll ever experience unless I were to go to an absolute terrible neighborhood and I was unarmed. When women walk down the street at certain times of night under certain circumstances, totally get that. Valid point. Male violence is not restricted to intimate partner attacks or sexual assault. Terrorism and mass gun violence. Okay, well, I mean, look, I believe there are other forms of violent crime that women commit. I believe women are more likely to kill their children. Right? Infanticide is a predominantly female crime. Terrorism. Women are getting involved in terrorism. I mean, that's the idea that women can't be terrorists is almost misogynistic in itself. And mass gun violence. Look, hey, there is, I believe, I would agree, a crisis of masculinity that's causing mass gun violence. But I don't know that the type of masculinity that this woman would suggest is going to help that thing. In fact, I'd say it would hurt it. I think the more we fem up our males, the more likely we are to have situations where we have guys like these incels and these other fucking losers who go out there and they wanna hurt and strike back at society because they feel like this deep biological imperative to be a bad cock-swinging motherfucker has been taken away from them. Let's see. Wage inequality continues to permeate every economy. Not really true, right? We found out that the wage gap kind of a load of shit. I know a number of women who make a fuckload more than I do in the same industry. So that's certainly women continue to provide higher rates of unpaid labor in the home, child care, elder care, care for disabled individuals, housework, and food provision. You mean being a fucking... all I hear is, being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest but most rewarding. Being a But who do you think... How do you think the stay-at-home mom survives? The go-to-work husband. He goes... That's still work. And yeah, unpaid. She's fucking hanging out with a kid and doing some mopping. Chill the fuck out. The mortgage ain't on her. Reading on. So in this moment, here in the land of the legislatively legitimated toxic masculinity, are there laws that have made toxic masculinity legitimate? I don't know. Is it really so illogical to hate men? Yes. For all the power of hashtag Me Too and hashtag Time's Up and the women's marches. Well, but this is the thing. The Me Too and the Time's Up are starting to become parodies of themselves, and the women's marches were comedy from the get-go. Only a relatively few men have been called to task. A shitload of men have been called to task. And I've yet to see a mass wave of prosecutions or even serious recognition of wrongdoing. Well, let's see. Weinstein and Cosby, we've got that going on. And the other thing is, remember, if it's a fucking he said, she said from 3 decades ago, there is no way to prosecute, you fucking dumbass. Okay. On the contrary, cries of witch hunt and the plotted resurrection of celebrity offenders came quick on the heels of outcry over endemic sexual harassment and violence. No, the cries of witch hunt came when it was guys who hadn't actually done anything wrong, and people were going after them. And it was just, oh, you've been accused, we have to disappear you now. Like we were talking with Chris Hardwick, we don't even know if that fucking guy did anything wrong, and you're ready to run him out of town on the rails. Like, no shit, we're going to be like, yeah, we're going to resurrect Louis because he's a weirdo, not a rapist, okay? There's a fucking difference. I love Michelle Obama as much as the next woman, but when they have gone low for all of human history, maybe it's time for us to go all Thelma and Louise and Foxy Brown on their collective butts. Look, once again, through most of human history, it was the male doing, the physical shit that kept the family alive and protecting the female's place. There's always been a sanctity of the female, right? It's ridiculous to say that if you were a rapist in the old days, you were let off easy. I feel like back in the old days, if you got caught being a rapist, they would cut your dick off and shove it in your mouth and let you bleed out still alive with a massive gaping hole where your cock and balls used to be. So I don't know that women have been oppressed forever. I think there's definitely been some things they need to make some strides on. But again, this is just how shit worked, right? Things just kind of unfolded. No one, planned it. It wasn't like a group of cavemen got together one day and were like, all right, guys, we are on the heels of the agricultural revolution. And remember, as we're learning to grow crops and domesticate animals, the entire purpose behind this is to keep the women down. They can never be equal. No, it just unfolded, and it was like, all right, well, the dudes are the ones defending the land, so they're obviously the ones that are going to hold the land, and then when that became more and more official, the dude commanded the army that protected the lands. So he had these lands, and in part of that, the army protected his family, so his wife and his daughters aren't going to do anything, but he's got to groom his sons to go out there and find wives and land and stuff to expand, and this is all based on sex characteristics that were defined, when we were, little fucking single cell, whatever the fuck. So this lunatic who wants to go all Thelma and Louise and Foxy Brown on our collective butts better step the fuck off. The world has little place for feminist anger. Oh, bullshit. I can't sign on Twitter one day out of the week without seeing some fucking feminist cause trending with the support of everyone and their mother, because you're not allowed to oppose this stuff. Anyway, I might be shot just for recording this. Women are supposed to support, not condemn. Offer succor, succor. Yeah, they're supposed to offer succor. You know what I mean? Not dismissal. I don't know. I feel like, again, everyone's getting behind this Me Too thing. That's what they're doing. They're condemning. We're supposed to feel more empathy for your fear of being called a harasser, than we are for the women being harassed. Again, we drew such a sort of wide scope for what counts as harassment that it's like, I legitimately don't know. So I have to feel empathy for the guy being called a harasser because maybe he actually didn't do shit, right? Maybe he just gave someone an awkward his hand landed weird during... I'm an awkward fucking hugger. You know how easily I could be accused of harassment because my hugs suck? We're told he's with us and hashtag not him. But truly, if he were with us, wouldn't this all have ended a long time ago? If really he were with us, wouldn't he reckon that one good way to change structural violence and inequity would be to refuse the power that comes with it? And this sets up really my favorite fucking paragraph of the whole thing. Listen to this bullshit. So men, if you really are hashtag with us and would like us to not hate you for all the millennia of woe you have produced and benefited from, start with this. By the way, I have not produced a millennia of woe. I haven't even been around for a millennium, let alone enough millenniums to constitute millennia. So, but benefited. Middle-class dude living in a steamy, stinky apartment in JC? I don't think so, miss. Here's what she wants us to do. Lean out so we can actually just stand up without being beaten down. Pledge to vote for feminist women only. Don't run for office. Don't be in charge of anything. Step away from the power. We got this. And please know that your crocodile tears won't be wiped away by us anymore. We have every right to hate you. You have done us wrong. Hashtag because patriarchy. It is long past time to play hard for team feminism and win. What she's saying is they want us to submit. Just submit. Lay down your weapons. Everything will be... Remember they used to... what do they do that? In like 300 and in Game of Thrones, they want us to bend the knee so that it can be the women's planet from here on out. Right, because that is the farthest thing from equality. Equality is a very noble end to pursue, but this isn't about quality. This is about settling some sort of made-up score in your own head. I mean, here you are. You're a college professor published in the Washington Post. Have you not succeeded? Have you not overcome? Is there something we should... I mean, or is it all just a facade that you fear will come crumbling down and you'll be exposed as a fucking fraud? Because that's what it sounds like you are. You sound like a fraud. You're a professor, but you don't believe in the free exchange of ideas or equality. You say it has to be a feminist, and men have to step back. It's only time for women now. That sounds like a terrible idea. Don't we benefit from a heterodoxy? Right? We don't all want to be the same. Shame on you, professor. And that's why I say, Chris Hardwick, don't immediately think that... Again, if he did sexually assault his girlfriend, and if he did set out to harpoon and ruin her career, complete piece of shit. But reserve the judgment before passing the judgment, all right? Let's see. Always ask to see evidence. Be a skeptic. Remember, human beings are not necessarily good. There's some human beings out there that are fucking pricks. And if there's a guy out there who's a big enough of a prick to restrict a woman in her relationship or to do whatever, then there's an equal and opposite prick on the other side in the female camp who would have no problem making something up about a guy to ruin him. Okay? And context. Always remember context. I think we can look back at Einstein and at his racism. You can't see my air quotes. Well, what was it really? Those were the thoughts of a super intelligent man traveling through a world that was still incredibly primitive by our standards, and observing people who clearly were not living life on the level that he was. Certainly, I wouldn't call this just because he observed differences among the races, and he carried himself with an air of superiority. That's not necessarily racism. Einstein was an outspoken critic of racism. So let's cool it with these blanket generalizations about shit. I don't think it doesn't serve us well. I'm going to tell one last dirty joke, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up, okay? How do you embarrass an archaeologist? Hand him a used tampon and ask him which period it came from. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of the Savage Sacktap. And you can find me social media, facebook.com/The Savage Crew. On Instagram, it's at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And on Twitter, it is at Mike Montone. All right, thanks for stopping by.